angry, what do you have to do? Yes. Think about something in the past that caused you anger, and that will trigger that emotion again. Yeah? So emotion is always a physical reaction of the body to a thought that I believe to be true, real. Okay? So now, when you work and when you're in a game, in a basketball, if you're emotional, are you going to be effective or not? No. Yes? No? No. Why not? Yes.
Too much stuff was going on at one time.
Too much, okay. What else? Except that I can say I'm just emotional. Yes?
You won't be focusing on your feelings so much instead of playing basketball.
Okay, yes.
Your body won't be able to react to the situation due to it's like due to the fact that it's like dealing with the emotional reaction of your thoughts.
Okay, yes. So what happens when someone is emotional, there is a physical sensation in the body, right? Every emotion we experience happens in the field of the physical body, yeah? And usually it's from the hips up. Only fear, sometimes we feel that we're so nervous and fearful that it's in our knees, right? We say, I don't have any energy, I'm losing all the energy, it's draining me. So emotion happens in the field of the physical body, and any negative emotion, I'll ask you a question, do you like or you dislike? Any emotion that is negative, do you like or dislike? Dislike. Everyone. We are all the same mechanism for all of us as human beings. When there is a negative emotion, because nobody taught us how to work with it, how to observe it, how to discern it, then out of habit, we react to that emotion. When we react mentally, we are blind. Yes? So, how do I come out of this? Yeah. Let's say I'm emotional. That's a given, it happens. So it's not that we're not trying to be emotional, yet we want to be aware that if we are emotional, what do we do now? Any ideas? What can you do? You're upset about something. Or you're playing basketball and now you're not having a good moment. What do you do? What can you do?
Try to forget about it.
Hmm?
Forget about it. Move on.
Forget about it. Okay. What else? I'll help again. I'm emotional. It's a physical reaction in the body. Yes? Now the mind, the thought process is reacting to that emotion. When it's reacting to that emotion, I want to cut the thought process. And all it takes is just one moment to cut it. If I cut it, there is no reactivity in the mind anymore for that moment. Okay? I'll point another thing. In the mind, which is just a stream of thoughts, like a river, yes? We don't have two thoughts at the same time. We have one thought at a time. Try to think two thoughts simultaneously right now. Each one. I invite every single person, try to think two thoughts simultaneously. Anybody succeed? Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes.
I don't know how I can though.
Huh?
I don't know how, but I can.
So which thought? Tell me the two thoughts you think at the same time.
I was thinking about basketball, but then I was thinking about what I gotta do after.
Okay, so were you able to think it simultaneously, or you thought about that, and then afterwards you thought about it?
Like almost at the same time.
It's almost. If you look at the movie, there is the frames, right? There is the projector, and then there is the how you call this
Film reel?
film, wrong? It's one picture after another, right? Once it moves quickly, what happens?
It flows.
Yeah, that projection appears to be moving as one movie, yes? Yet it's one frame at a time. Our mind is the same way, yeah? The thought is one thought at a time, one frame at a time, means once it's moving fast, it's a movie. I'm in a story. I'm locked in a story. So what happens? The mind can either be in reaction or take mental action. It cannot be both simultaneously. Yes, so far clear? Yeah, you cannot be reactive and take mental action. Actually, if I'll break it down, we can be mentally reactive, verbally reactive, and physically reactive. Or we can be mental active, verbal active, and physical active. And any training that people do and condition the body by repetitive action, that turns to be physical action that happens without any thought about it. This is, I think, what you call in basketball being in the zone, no?
Right.
Being in the zone, you're so present that there is no thought, yet the body knows exactly how to move. It is conditioned to move with the ball, to throw the ball, and all of it. You don't think about it. It all just happens. Yeah? This means being so present that you're not dwelling on the past memory. You're not thinking about the future. You're just so present with every action, and that is always elation. That is always harmony, and that is always the best experience everyone is looking. Every moment when you play, isn't it? Yeah? In that moment, in that zone, you are mind-free. Yeah? Yet the body continues to go through the motion because we have done so much repetition of practice that the body knows how to do it. We actually have a brain in the back here that all this movement is registered in that brain, in the back of the brain, that you don't need to think about taking action physically. Yeah, this is how walking happens. Yeah, nobody's thinking, well, which leg should I move next? No, the repetition of the body happens so many times that it just happens naturally, spontaneously, harmoniously, without any effort. Yes? So, I go back to emotion. If I'm emotional, and emotion, first place I would feel it would be in the physical body as a sensation, physical experience. So in order to cut the stream of thought, the easiest way would be is that breath. I invite everyone to take one inhalation and try to think at the same time, yet be fully present with the inhalation. Okay? Everyone. If you're fully present with the sensation of the breath, you cut the stream of thought. In that moment, you cut the reactivity of the mind to the unpleasant sensation. So, one of the key things for a basketball player, for anything you do, is to have the ability to shift the attention. Yeah? So I'll talk about shifting the attention. Let's say I notice I'm upset of something. So one simple practice that you can put into use when you catch yourself, if you start noticing that you're getting too mental, come back to your physical action. Yeah? Means you step out of your mind. Because if you come back to what you do physically, you can now wander with your mind. Yeah, because then you're going to lose the ball, although your eyes are open, your mind is somewhere else. Everybody is aware of that? Yeah? So one of the ways, if you're really upset, because maybe you're in a game and now you threw and you had an idea you're supposed to get the ball in the basket, and it didn't happen, and now you, oh. And if you get into it, mentally, you're gone. Yet if you come back to what you need to do physically, action, be present with your movement and body, you stepped out it. That's it. You left it behind. Yeah? And this is when you turn to be, in that moment, the greatest player on the planet. Because the greatest player on the planet is being he's so in tune and so present with what is happening, he's in perfect harmony. Okay? And this is what everyone is looking for, whether it's basketball and many other scenarios in life. Yeah? And when you are working with your physical body, it's very good to learn to bring it back to really feel and experience what's going on in the body in the moment. Because that doesn't let the mind wander to the past, which is memory, or to the future, which is imagination. Yes? Any questions so far? Practical? I gave a little bit of, I share knowledge. This is knowledge about the nature of ourselves, because we study so many things in school and from the beginning, yet what we neglect and most, or we are not taught, is to really know ourselves. So we know so many things outside ourselves, yet everywhere we walk, we can lose ourselves, and we do not know who we are. We are not familiar with the body. We are not familiar with our minds. Yes? And we're not sometimes even familiar with something that, when we don't have a thought, is always there. You're aware that when you don't have a thought, there is a silence or an awareness that is always, always here, that is aware? Yes, no. Each one will find out for themselves. Meanwhile, we leave it on the body, physical, and the mind. In order to know it, when you know yourself and when you know your mind, then you're not afraid from yourself. Yeah? And usually what holds us back is fear, right? And what is fear? Fear is always a thought about the future. Fear is from the unknown. Yeah? So I'm afraid to lose what I have, and I'm afraid that I'm not going to get what I want. So means I'm afraid maybe that I'm not going to succeed in the game, or I'm afraid that I'm going to lose a position in the game. If I am locked in that fear, I would not perform in my highest ability. Yes? Questions? You think it's important to know that? What I'm talking about? Yeah? I think so. I realize that when I know myself, my mind and the way it operates, so when the thoughts appear, instead of being imprisoned by them and instead of being the slave of the mind, I can be the master of the mind. When you work with the ball, you are mastering working with the ball, right? The ball is not controlling you. If I would take a ball, maybe I would be so sloppy and it will actually control me in some way. Yet if you master working with the ball, you control it and can direct it in however you find is the best way, right? The same with our thoughts. If we are aware of our thoughts, means we can notice the thoughts we have, whether it's fear, whether it's reactivity of the mind, whether it's emotion in the physical body. Then the fear, when it would appear, the way I would cut the fear is to come back to the present moment. Because fear is always of the future. Yeah? Nobody is ever afraid from what happened in the past. You know why? Because it's already over. It's finished. It's gone. I can't even change the past because it remains just in my mind as a memory, right? So the past is over. I'm not afraid of what happened. In the present moment, I'm not afraid. When I think what will happen in the future, what might happen the next moment, guess what happens? Fear visits. Hello, I'm here. So if it visits, in order for me not to get lost in that imagination, what I have to do? Bring the mind where? Back to the present moment. Because the physical body is always when? Where? In the present now. It is always now. The body doesn't know yesterday. The body doesn't know tomorrow. So the body is always in the present moment. So if I can shift the attention, the mind's attention from the future back to what's going on now, I'm back in the present moment. I don't need to think what it means to be in the present. I have to just focus on what's going on in the body, what the action is, and I'm back in the present. Yes? Also, the moment you catch your mind wondering, afraid of what might happen, you're already more present. Okay? So shifting the attention is very key. And one of the things, what difficult or challenging at times to shift the attention back to the present is because the mind is addicted to dwell on the past. Why did it happen? I could have been better. How come I didn't do it so well? Means the mind falls into self-judgment. In order to step out from self-judgment, you have to come back to the present moment. Yeah? So in the game you didn't perform well, or you think you didn't perform well because however you performed, that was the best in that moment. Yeah? So if you think you didn't perform well, okay, realize it's finished. I come back and I do the best to stay present with what is as it is, with the body. Yes? That way you don't fall into judgment. Means the judgment happened and now you shift the attention to the present. Yes? The reaction of the mind happened to the emotion and you bring the mind back to the present, to the bodily sensation. Yes? It's so simple that we forgot the most basic simplicity of life. Coming back to the present because life is only happening now. And if you're before a game and you're nervous, if you can sit and come back to your breath, even for 1 minute, even for 2 or 3 breaths, you already suspend the thoughts in the mind, and that quiets the mind for a moment, and it's almost a restart in the computer. You press like a reboot, restart, and you start again. So a very good practice that they use for thousands of years, that no matter what happened, if you think you failed, you didn't do good, it wasn't good enough, you tell yourself, I start again. You just start again from the beginning. Okay? Because this moment is a new beginning. And then the next moment is a new beginning. So I start again. And the best I can do is come back to be so present with the body, especially when you are in a game or you're practicing. Yes? So let's say you're practicing and the coach is pushing your limit. Yes?
All the time.
Yeah, that's good. So when it pushes your limit and you start have negative thoughts, that's a sign that you're not present with the physical body. You are already lost. You're reacting in your mind. So there's nothing wrong when you notice it. What you have to do is come back to feel the body. Yeah? Do you understand what it is to feel the body?
Can you explain for us?
Huh?
Can you explain for us?
Yeah. So you don't need to do anything. Without moving and using your eyes or anything, can you feel your hands from within? Feel your hands from within. Your fingertips. Feel your fingertips from within. Now from your fingertips, feel your feet from within. The feet touching the socks. Yeah? There is a sensation there. It's subtle. Just feel that. When you feel it, is the mind present or not? Present. This is how simple to come to the present moment. Yes? Another way, if you're physically running, focus on every action that you, in the action. Just almost be one with that. Means you're not thinking about doing it, it's actually the action is happening. So being present would be coming back into the sensation of the body, using your breath. Yes? And obviously, if you learn to stop and a little bit meditate, that's always good. Although life is meditation, yet when you stop and you can observe the breath, anyone they found in schools, anywhere, that when they practice 5 minutes meditation, it makes the mind sharper, it makes you more aware of the thoughts and what's going on in the body. Yes? So, you want to try to meditate for 5 minutes? Yes? Yeah. So, if you're tired, you won't.
You won't?
You won't. Yeah. You know why?
Try.
So, who is tired in the room? Lift your hand.
Oh no.
Very good. Everyone that is tired, stand up. Yeah, okay, so let's do it like in a circle. So, because all of us are standing, let's...
You can be the only one sitting down.
Yeah, she's good. So, actually, this practice, you're going to do standing meditation. This practice was shared for 2,500 years ago. They practiced it in ancient Taoist practice in Qigong, if you heard the name. Like Tai Chi, you heard probably, right? Qigong, Qi is energy. Gong is the study or the work of energy. So all it does, you work with your physical body energy. Okay? You're aware that the energy is very important. It's all we have as a life force in the body, right? If somebody has no energy, they can't do much, right? If they have vitality, they have strong energy, they can move, yeah? The same when you practice. If you eat good, you have good energy. Maybe you take something like strong medicinal herbs that will get you more alert, which is medicinal, yeah? Food that they use for thousands of years. This will give you more what they call chi. Chi, or in Japanese they call it ki. You heard about the martial art Aikido? Yes? Or they call it in India prana. Yes? In yoga, prana. It's just different names for the same thing. It's energy. Yeah? And you know what? Everybody experienced ever energy in the body? Yes? Okay. So maybe after we stand, the standing meditation, I'll guide everyone to directly experience energy. So it won't be just like, oh, spiritual something out there. No, it's not. It's life. Yes? Okay. So you can stand comfortably in your shoulder width, whatever is comfortable for you. And I invite everyone to close their eyes. And I'll guide you through with just short few minutes standing. Close your eyes, get your hands relaxed so you're not holding your hands. Suddenly they're loose. We tend to be so conditioned habitually, put them in the pockets. No, I'm saying that's what we used to. Close your eyes.
No holding hands, boys.
And just be aware of the body sensation from within. You don't need to do anything. There is wisdom within everyone that is aware. Don't try to think or not think. Just you stand. Suddenly you can notice maybe tension in the body, pain in the body, because you stop. When we stop, we're just starting being aware. You might notice thoughts appear and disappear. Just let them. Don't interfere the natural process of thinking. The thought appear, complete itself and disappear. And then another thought. Maybe a stream of thoughts. It doesn't really matter. Just experience the physical body from within. This is why we close the eyes. If the coach will get you to stand every practice for a few minutes, you will excel so many things you can't even imagine. And you can just be aware of the natural flow of the breath around the nostrils, above the upper lip. You don't need to think about it, just experience the breath as it comes in and as it goes out. If the mind wanders from the breath, escape, just bring it back. And feel the natural flow of the breath. the mind escapes from the breath, start again, bring it back. Stay still, you don't need to move your feet. So you are standing like a tree or a mountain. If the mind just get lost in a dream, bring it back to the breath. And if you have a game today, use your mind and visualize how you see yourself playing. The best performance. How does it feel? See yourself working as a team. Each one working with the whole team. Visualize it. See yourself playing. Use your mind, so you're the master, directed into the direction you like to see. If you have a player that he's your favorite, see him playing and play like him in your mind. Yeah, I do not know that if you are into the basketball, you have somebody that inspires you. See him playing and you play like him. Run it in your mind. can open your eyes, still stand, don't move. And I invite all of you to put your hands close to each other without touching. Yes? Put your attention in your palms. Okay? Feel the palms like you're holding a cotton ball. And now very slowly you can watch my palms just move in a very small circles. Feel the palms from within. Until suddenly you feel like there's two forces of magnet. You felt it. It's just the mind is jumping. Feel it. Stay with that. You'll get used to it. You'll notice suddenly that's chi, energy. Put all the attention. The slower you move, the easier to sense it. Now what you can do is almost look at the palms, bounce the bounce. Now feel like you have the cotton ball glued and you pull your palms and you have a hard time. Yeah, you have a hard time, and now try your palms, push them together and like you feel you can't, there's a resistance. And now just circle again. Okay? Good. We can stop. So once you stand, one second. Once you stand, if the coach will get into this habit to get you standing every time, even for 5 minutes, then what you do in the end, you can take your breath and inhale, hold it for a second, you feel the palms getting warm, and then you just run it across your body, moving the chi, the energy.
Papa, put some chi on your toe.
That's a good idea.
I felt powerful just then.
I know you got scared. You said
Okay, you can see the weapon.
that was cool. Imagine yourself in
not falling off.
My shin hurts, my knees hurt.
Getting excited a little bit. Anyway, standing meditation is powerful. Even if you do it 5 minutes, it can connect, it's like gather all your energy back so you're centered. Get your mind focused before you start any game or any practice. You can use your mind to visualize. You can bring it to the breath, so it quiets the stream of thought. And there is a secret. They held the standing meditation secret for many, many hundreds of years. It was released just in the last 120 years that it was exposed to all of us. So what the standing does, it unifies the whole body. Unifies it. So you can see sometimes when people are not coordinated, one hand, the movement can be one hand, yet it's not connected with the body. So when you stand like that, in being still, it works on your nervous system, it works on centering every cell of the body, and it unites. So the movement would be one unity instead of just I'm moving my arm. Yeah? So the movement comes from the hips, your whole energy flows in a different way. Yes? So that's simple. It's the most simple thing. Stand, don't move, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It all depends on the ability. I start with people short, so they are consistently building themselves up, and you will be amazed how powerful it is. That's it for today, unless you have questions. So I won't keep talking blah, blah, blah.
So why don't you tell me a little bit about you, Michael? Where you come from?
About me?
Yeah, just a little bit where you come from and what you do.
Okay. Originally, I was born in Israel. And since I was a teenager, my main interest was training dogs. So I would work with dogs and people and teach them and work. That was my main passion. What interests me was teaching. So I was teaching the people to communicate clearly with the animals and to learn how to read the animals and what they're communicating with us and bridge the two together.
You need to come to my house.
Hmm?
You need to come to my house.
And then in Israel, it's mandatory when 18 comes, you finish high school, you go to army, 3 years. So I went to the army for 3 years. And then when I finished the army, I left and I came to the States and I lived in the States and I continued and I worked with behavior modification and people and dogs. And I studied many years martial art, Kung Fu style. So I work with the body, I work with the mind, so I come from that background. I practiced on a daily basis for over 8 years. Every day, get on the mat, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, practice, discipline. Yeah? So I find that when you are disciplined and you put it into use, then it transforms your life in many aspects. So it can be on the physical, and then I realized very quickly in the martial art that the limitation is not the physical body. They always said, you take a mind of a black belt and you put it in a white belt body, it would go to splits, it would kick, it would hold his leg that high, no problem. The limitation was not the body, was all in the mind. And that got me into a journey to know myself. Okay? And it continued, and I moved on and on and on. And in the past 12 years, I stopped actually working with dogs and people, and I mainly travel around the world and I work with people, and the subject is awareness, awakening to human nature or awakening to who you truly are. And I teach people, or I guide people by sharing knowledge to be their own master and wake up to who they truly are and learn to discriminate their thoughts, learn to work with the mind, learn to shift the attention and be concentrated, and learn to be more present, and learn how to work with reactivity, with emotion, and so forth. So it's very unusual for me to come and speak in front of you guys. Usually I meet people that are really looking to know the truth, and they understand what they're looking for. Yes?
I have a question. So
Yes.
you travel the world, and we have a lot of problems in America, a lot of diversions for the kids. What is it that people, when they look at America, and there's all these problems, you know, can you tell the kids that, like, people in the rest of the world think we're idiots? You know, in some of the ways that we act? Because sometimes we get caught up with things that were very self-destructive as a culture. You know, and you're talking about awareness, maybe some tips for them to help themselves. And when you're an American, you think that the world revolves around you. And then when you leave America, you find out that there's a whole other world out there. Could you speak to that a little bit?
I try.
Yeah.
I don't know if people think that Americans are idiots, or I don't really know. Some people watch the TV, and for them America is what they see in the TV, and that's what they aspire. So I don't really know, yes. One thing is that I find that when you travel and you see other cultures, you actually see that people can live differently, and people can think differently, and it's very good to see. It's very good to see. I tell people, when you can move around, go out. Sometimes for Israelis, so it's a small country, they want to travel, they have to travel. US is very big, so sometimes people stay in the US or just in a small area and they don't travel so much. So when you travel, you get exposed to something different. Yet what I find is that as a human nature, we're all the same. We're all the same. So I think what I find is powerful in some other cultures is working together, sharing with each other, and wanting to help instead of just being isolated or being isolated. I think
There's a lot of
maybe,
that in our culture.
yeah, I think there's, I don't know, a lot or little, there is, I call it less friction. Less friction. Friction means contact, communicate, sharing, and not each one just walking and living their world, just looking at themselves. So if I have to say something, be open to many possibilities. So if you're conditioned to think a certain way, don't think that this is the only way. Yeah? Because someone eats a particular food, yeah, and they say they go to a different culture and they try something new and they're like, what is this? And that person would come to this culture and would try to eat what you eat and would say, what is that? So it's just the way we are conditioned or habitually grow, and that's not how life only is. So the more you break out your old way of thinking, you're more open to something new. And I think what blocks and locks majority of humanity is they are so set in the way they are used to think, and they think this is only it. This is how it is. So when you travel, when you start to know yourself, means your thoughts, emotions, bodily sensations, it's a very good beginning. Then your mind or your mind expands. So I'm more focused on expanding the mind rather than in culturing, and I've seen we are all the same. Look, the joints, the way they are built, and it's the mind, the thoughts, the way they work, it's all the same. Yeah? Yes, every name and every form is unique into itself, yet the principle is the same. Okay? Operates the same exact way.
So I think Coach was talking about, and I think you hit it on the nose, the more aware you are, the more likely you're in control of your life and you won't be influenced by outside influences.
Yes, so the more aware means I'm less reactive to what's going on outside of me. When I'm less reactive to what's going on outside of me, I am less affected. If I'm less affected, I'm more centered, I'm more clear, I can take action. And then, when I'm less affected, I can see. And what I can see is new possibilities. Because life gives us infinite possibilities. It's right in front of us and we say, I don't see anything. Yes? So when the more you're aware, the whole universe opens up for you. So it's very powerful. It's very powerful, and it can begin in such a simple practice. And I already shared you the practice. If you stand 5 minutes every time you're going to practice, before you practice, yeah? Because in the Qigong tradition, or Tai Chi, first of all, they come, they stand. Once they stand and they're grounded, now they start the movement, yes? Not before. So, if we can see physically, stillness is the source of all movement, right? If I'm standing, just from this standing, I can start to move, right? And when I move and I stop, I come back to stillness, and from there I would move again. Because stillness is the source of all movement. If you want to be master of every movement of your life, if you learn to stand still, which nobody needs to learn that, it's to practice. And what I see is lacking, whether it's in America or many other places on the planet today, is discipline. No discipline. Doing only what you like and love, that's not discipline. Doing something that challenges your mind and you resist it, that builds discipline. And I see that the new generation have weak mind. Guys, weak mind means any little thing that throws them off, they collapse. They collapse. Oh, I can't do it. Oh, it's not too difficult. Oh, I have pain. Collapse. You want it tough? You want to toughen your mind? We come back to the principle. Stand, close your eyes, and be still. Few minutes every day. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Let's talk. I'll be open to listen if you practice. Yes? It's powerful, it's simple, and at least I leave you something that when I walk away, you're like not dependent on anybody. You're the master. Each one of you is the master of their life. Nobody else will be the master for you. So only you can do the work with yourself, nobody else. So I find discipline is important in order to really wake up. Yeah, and humanity needs to wake up to what's going on around us and what's going on inside us. Yeah, and discipline means you do something, although your mind resists it, yet you know it's good and it builds you and constructs you. Means not something that you're hurting anybody or doing something that is between you and yourself. And you will see when you stand, the mind reacts to it. It doesn't like that. Even 5 minutes. It's like, oh, standing until you pass a threshold that it starts to really take you and open something within you. So in the classics, they talk, the Taoist classics, for thousands of years they talk. In order to really understand the power of standing meditation, it's 100 hours of practice. They have it very clear. 100 hours, you calculate. You stand 5 minutes, how many days we have to practice? You stand 10 minutes, how many days we have to accumulate 100 hours, yes? So you really would know and understand the depth of this practice. Okay? I practice almost 14 years standing meditation, and I practiced when I started 40 minutes and then hour every day, and it's very powerful. It has infinite depth. Yes? Any questions? I'm honored and glad that I had the opportunity to come and speak and share with you and leave with you something that you can actually utilize between you and yourself or in the practice, and that will take you. It will show you. The master is within you. So when you stop and you stand and you close your eyes, everything starts to awaken from within. Yes? I had a master who shared with me the standing, and I used to come to him, and the first time I came to him, I had a back injury. Yeah, I injured my back in the martial art, and everywhere I went, they told me this would never be recovered. I said, okay. And then I met this master, and I came to him, and he said, I don't know. I find he was standing already 40 years. I find that I've seen hundreds and maybe thousands of people that by standing, it healed their back, their knees problems, so many health problems. He said, you stand. And he told me another thing. You don't ask me anything. All the wisdom is inside you. You stand and let it all grow from within, and it will show you. And because I was ready, and it resonated what I heard, and I had nothing to lose because my back was injured. So I stood. I came every day to the park in front of his house and just stood. Yeah? Every day, every day, every day. And I saw how powerful it is. Through the years, one of the things I share standing meditation. I share many other things, obviously. And I saw already how powerful it is. So I shared with you what I experienced from within and what I saw many people, and it's something that you can take it from today on. So, any other questions?
Yeah, we appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.